The cameras may have stopped rolling, but the whispers haven't. As news breaks that Sierra has allegedly confessed to battling wine and pills in a late-night emotional talk with Bambi, fans are left in complete shock. Nobody saw this coming, especially from a woman who has always carried herself as the strong one, the fighter, the survivor. The streets of Atlanta are buzzing. Social media is on fire, and everyone wants to know how deep this confession goes. Did Sierra really bare her soul to Bambi, or is this just another piece of drama spun out of control? Insiders claim that in the middle of tears and raw emotions, Sierra admitted she had leaned on wine more than she should have, and even mixed it with her prescribed pills. Those words, said in confidence, have now ignited a storm across the love and hip-hop fan base. Bambi, caught in the moment, was reportedly stunned, torn between compassion for her friend and disbelief at what she was hearing. The revelation has fans questioning what really goes on behind the glitz, glam, and picture-perfect images these stars portray. If this is true, it could mark one of the most vulnerable, explosive, and unexpected confessions in the show's history. The moment the whispers about Sierra's late-night confession began to circulate, the entire atmosphere in Atlanta shifted. Fans who had followed her journey for years always saw her as the bold, stylish woman who never let her guard down. Yet this time, the story of her sitting across from Bambi, voice shaking, eyes clouded with emotion, and admitting to struggles with wine and pills, changed everything. It was not the glamorous, polished Sierra the world knew. It was raw, unsettling, and deeply human. Insiders claim that she had no intention of revealing such truths that night. It wasn't scripted or staged. It was the weight of years catching up with her, breaking through the walls she had built so carefully. Those who were present say the room felt heavy, the silence almost unbearable, as Sierra explained how one glass of wine after a stressful day turned into 2, then 3. Soon, it wasn't just a way to unwind, it became a shield from everything that hurt too much to face. Mixing it with prescribed pills wasn't premeditated, she admitted, but in moments of desperation, it gave her the illusion of peace. "I didn't realize how far I had gone until I couldn't recognize myself anymore," she allegedly told Bambi, her voice trembling. For someone known to be the strong friend, the fighter, the one who held everyone else together, these words felt like an earthquake. Bambi, sitting across from her, was caught completely off guard. Her eyes widened, her body tensed as she tried to process the revelation. The two women had shared their fair share of ups and downs, but nothing like this. Sources say Bambi leaned forward at first, trying to show compassion, whispering questions like, "How long has this been going on?" And "Why didn't you tell me before?" But as the confessions poured out, her arms folded across her chest, almost as if shielding herself from the weight of what she was hearing. Fans who later learned of her reaction began debating online. Some praised her for at least listening, while others criticized her for not showing more support. The conversation wasn't only about substance struggles. It carried with it years of bottled-up pain and the scars of broken friendships. Sierra reportedly admitted that the accusations of being fake, of not being a true friend, had haunted her more than anyone realized. She said she reached a breaking point one night, mixing wine with her antidepressants, and felt herself spiraling into darkness. She confessed to Bambi, "I looked in the mirror and didn't know who I was anymore." These words, though private, have now echoed across social media, igniting debates about mental health, responsibility, and the pressures of public life. Fans on social platforms are divided. Many express sympathy, saying this moment shows how human these women truly are beneath the glitz and glam. Others, however, are less forgiving, pointing out that as a mother and a public figure, Sierra should have been more careful. Comments like, "She's brave for admitting it," stand alongside, "This is reckless and dangerous." The divide only fuels the drama, keeping everyone glued to every detail that leaks out. Bambi's own inner conflict is just as dramatic as the confession itself. She has always been the one to clash with Mama D, to take on challenges headfirst, never backing down. But here, in this raw exchange, she wasn't the fighter. She became the listener, the mirror reflecting back Sierra's pain. At one point, she is said to have whispered, "I didn't know it was this bad," her voice low, heavy with disbelief. Insiders describe the silence that followed as suffocating, as if both women realized they had stepped into a space from which there was no turning back. Friends close to the pair reveal that this wasn't the first time signs had appeared. There were whispers of Sierra's mood swings, of her distancing herself at gatherings, of her quick temper followed by long disappearances. But no one imagined the root could be something as serious as this. Bambi herself later admitted privately that she had brushed off certain behaviors, thinking it was just stress from business or motherhood. Now, faced with the truth, she was left questioning whether she had failed her friend by not seeing the warning signs. The ripple effect of this revelation is spreading far beyond their inner circle. Family members are said to be shocked, with some rallying around Sierra, offering her unconditional support, while others express anger and disappointment. One relative reportedly said, "We trusted her to be stronger, but she was hiding too much." Fans are echoing these sentiments, split between empathy and judgment. The fanbase itself feels divided, almost as if the confession has created a new fault line in the love and hip-hop community. But perhaps the most haunting part of the conversation was when Sierra admitted that during her lowest moments, she felt utterly alone, even in rooms full of people. She confessed to Bambi that she often wore a smile to hide the pain, pretending to be the strong one everyone expected, while inside, she was drowning. "Nobody saw me," she allegedly said, "and I didn't even see myself." Those words, raw and unfiltered, are what many fans cannot shake from their minds. They paint a picture of a woman at war with herself, trying to survive in silence while maintaining the illusion of perfection. As the story spreads, insiders warn that this is only the beginning of what could unravel. For now, all eyes are on Sierra and Bambi. The friendship that once seemed fractured by misunderstandings may now be tested by this new truth. Will Bambi truly stand by her friend, or will the weight of this confession push them further apart? One thing is certain. The emotional talk between these two women has ignited a storm that shows no sign of calming anytime soon. The fallout from Sierra's emotional confession did not end in that quiet room where she bared her soul to Bambi. In fact, that was only the spark that ignited an even bigger storm, one that now has fans, friends, and family divided in ways no one expected. The moment news of her words began to trickle out, people started dissecting every past scene, every social media post, every moment where she might have been masking her pain. Suddenly, little details that were once overlooked became evidence of a bigger struggle. Fans are convinced they saw the signs, pointing to nights where Sierra seemed distracted, photos where her smile did not reach her eyes, and her frequent mentions of stress and exhaustion. In hindsight, it all seemed to add up. And the shocking part was that no one close to her appeared to recognize it at the time. For Bambi, being the first to hear such a revelation was not just overwhelming, it was a burden. Insiders reveal that in the days after the confession, she wrestled with her own feelings. She wanted to be there for Sierra, but she also couldn't shake the fear that she had been pulled into something much bigger than she was prepared to handle. She reportedly confided to a friend saying, "I don't even know how to help her. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I also can't just sit back." This inner conflict left her in a difficult position. On one hand, her compassion made her want to stand by Sierra. On the other, the sheer weight of the confession made her question if she could truly carry that responsibility. The conversation between the two women also brought up old wounds, particularly around the accusations of fake friendships and betrayals that had haunted their circle for years. Sierra admitted to Bambi that in her darkest moments, she had convinced herself that none of her friends were real, that everyone around her was simply waiting for her to fail. "I thought everybody wanted to see me fall," she allegedly whispered, her voice breaking. Those words cut deep, not just for Bambi, but for everyone who would later hear them. It forced people to confront the reality that no matter how glamorous their lives seemed, these women carried insecurities and fears that mirrored those of anyone struggling behind closed doors. Social media went into overdrive once these details emerged. Fans began sharing their own stories of battling depression, using hashtags that tied back to Sierra's alleged confession. Some praised her for being brave enough to open up, while others accused her of using her struggles as a storyline to gain sympathy. Posts poured in, with comments like, "We need to support her," alongside harsher words such as, "She's playing the victim." The conflicting reactions only added to the chaos, turning a personal moment into a public debate. Meanwhile, Bambi's relationship with Mama D began to resurface in the discussions, almost like a shadow hanging over the new drama. While Sierra wanted to believe that Mama D was trying to change for the sake of the family, Bambi remained unconvinced. She told those close to her that Mama D's past actions were too hurtful to be forgotten, especially the moments when spiritual accusations and public shaming had left scars. This tension added another layer to the situation. Fans wondered aloud if Mama D would use Sierra's vulnerable moment as ammunition, or if she would actually show support. After all, Mama D has never been one to shy away from drama, and her history with Bambi already made things volatile. As if that wasn't enough, whispers of a christening controversy began to circulate again, reigniting old wounds. According to sources, Bambi was furious when she learned that her children had been christened without her knowledge, an event she felt she had every right to be a part of. "They wanted me to crash out, but I didn't," she reportedly said, holding back tears. Bringing this memory into the mix created an even more explosive backdrop for the new revelations. Fans quickly connected the dots, suggesting that the stress from these family disputes may have fueled Sierra's struggles in the first place. Emotions within the group reached a boiling point when discussions turned toward loyalty and accountability. Sierra's confession forced everyone to ask themselves how much they had really supported her over the years. Some friends admitted privately that they had noticed changes in her, but chose to ignore them, assuming it was just stress. Others defended themselves, saying Sierra had mastered the art of hiding her pain too well for anyone to truly intervene. Regardless of the explanations, the guilt began to set in, leaving cracks in the foundation of friendships that were already fragile. The fans, meanwhile, began speculating about what this would mean for the show's future. Many predicted that the confession would dominate upcoming storylines, turning into one of the most dramatic arcs in recent memory. Some even claimed that producers were eager to highlight it, knowing it would pull in massive ratings. However, critics worried that exploiting such a personal struggle for entertainment could cross dangerous lines. The debate raged on, but one thing was certain: everyone was watching. Behind the scenes, those closest to Sierra insisted that this was not about ratings or storylines. They described her confession as a cry for help, a moment of vulnerability that had been building for years. They pointed out that she had been juggling too much, running businesses, raising children, managing friendships, and constantly being under the public eye. Eventually, something had to give. And when it did, it broke her down in front of one of the few people she thought she could trust. Bambi, despite her own doubts, reportedly tried to reassure Sierra that night. She told her, "You can't carry all of this on your own. If it's too heavy, it's okay to say that." Those words, though simple, have been repeated by fans as a message of solidarity, reminding everyone that even the strongest people need support sometimes. Yet, as heartfelt as the moment was, it also raised a pressing question. Would Bambi truly stand by Sierra when the backlash hit, or would she distance herself to avoid the mess? With all the emotions swirling around, the situation feels like a powder keg ready to explode. Every new detail that comes out sparks more speculation, more debates, and more divisions. Some see this as the beginning of healing, while others see it as the start of an even bigger breakdown. One insider summed it up perfectly. What started as a private confession between two women is now a storm that's bigger than both of them. And as the storm grows, everyone is left wondering who will stand together, who will fall apart, and how much more will be revealed before the dust finally settles. The days following Sierra's shocking confession only grew heavier, as word of the emotional talk with Bambi continued to spread through their circle like wildfire. What had started as a vulnerable moment shared in private now became the centerpiece of endless whispers, debates, and speculation. For some, it was proof that Sierra was finally ready to confront her demons. For others, it was just another reminder of how fragile their friendships truly were. And for Bambi, the weight of holding such a confession became nearly unbearable, forcing her to question her own role in the chaos that followed. Insiders say that Bambi struggled to sleep in the nights after the conversation, replaying Sierra's words over and over in her head. She couldn't shake the image of her friend admitting that she mixed wine and pills during her darkest days. "I didn't even recognize myself anymore," Sierra had said, and those words haunted Bambi. She worried not only about what Sierra had gone through, but also about what might happen if others used the confession against her. The group wasn't known for kindness when it came to weaknesses. Drama was their currency, and a revelation like this could easily turn into a weapon. And that's exactly what began to happen. Whispers started surfacing, not just about the confession itself, but about what it meant for the dynamic between the women. Some claimed that Sierra had only opened up because she wanted Bambi's sympathy. Others believed she was laying the groundwork to expose fake friendships that had left her feeling abandoned. As the story grew, so did the tension, and fans online were quick to take sides. "This feels real, not just TV," one wrote, while another insisted she's just setting up the next big storyline. Bambi, for her part, tried to keep quiet, but silence in their world is never enough. Every time she avoided a question, people assumed it meant there was more to the story. Every time she posted a photo, fans flooded the comments with demands for answers. She could no longer escape the storm that had been unleashed. "It's like no matter what I do, people think I'm hiding something," she confided to a close friend, according to sources. Sierra, meanwhile, faced her own wave of reactions. Some family members expressed compassion, saying they wished she had spoken sooner. Others were less forgiving, accusing her of recklessness and weakness. One relative reportedly said, "She should have thought about the kids before she let it get that far." The divide within her own family mirrored the divide among fans, leaving Sierra stuck in a whirlwind of sympathy and criticism. The situation grew even more explosive when Mama D's name resurfaced in connection to the drama. Though she wasn't present during the confession, her complicated history with both women made it impossible to leave her out of the conversation. Fans speculated that Mama D might use this revelation to further her own battles with Bambi. After all, she had never been shy about voicing her opinions or using dramatic moments to her advantage. One insider even suggested that Mama D was already making calls, trying to figure out how to spin the situation to suit her narrative. This possibility left Bambi on edge. The last thing she wanted was for Mama D to turn Sierra's vulnerable moment into a public feud. But in their world, keeping things private was almost impossible. Everyone had an agenda, and no secret stayed hidden for long. Then came the christening controversy, dragged back into the spotlight at the worst possible time. Fans revisited the moment when Bambi had discovered that her children had been christened without her knowledge. It was a betrayal that still stung, and now people were connecting it to Sierra's struggles. Some speculated that the emotional weight of such family conflicts may have pushed her deeper into her battle with wine and pills. "You can't separate the two," one fan tweeted. "The drama at home fuels the drama within." As these threads tangled together, emotions within the group began to boil. Trust, already fragile, threatened to shatter completely. One friend admitted privately, "We all feel guilty now because maybe we should have seen it sooner. But instead of helping her, we were too busy fighting each other." The guilt was real, but so was the resentment. Nobody wanted to be blamed for ignoring the signs, and so the blame began bouncing from one person to another, creating an endless loop of accusations. Social media only amplified the drama, with fans dissecting every clip, every old argument, and every subtle look. Some pointed to past confrontations where Sierra seemed unusually emotional, insisting that it was a clear sign of what she had been going through. Others dismissed these theories, saying she had always been dramatic and that people were simply rewriting history to fit the new narrative. Either way, the confession had become the lens through which all past and future actions were judged. All past and future actions were judged. Through it all, Sierra herself seemed caught between relief and regret. On one hand, finally admitting her struggles to Bambi gave her a sense of freedom she hadn't felt in years. But on the other, she now faced the reality of having her pain dissected by fans, friends, and even enemies. According to insiders, she broke down again in private, saying, "I wanted to be honest, but I didn't want the whole world to know. Now I feel exposed all over again." Her words painted a picture of a woman torn between healing and the pressure of public scrutiny. Bambi, too, felt trapped. She wanted to protect Sierra, but she also didn't want to get dragged deeper into a storm that seemed impossible to control. She confided to one person, "I don't want to lose her as a friend, but I also don't want to drown in her pain." This admission revealed the fragile balance she was trying to maintain: compassion on one side, self-preservation on the other. The tension reached new heights when rumors spread that producers were already planning how to feature the confession in upcoming episodes. While some fans applauded the decision, arguing that it would bring important conversations about mental health to light, others accused the show of exploiting a woman's darkest moments for ratings. This debate only made the drama bigger, drawing in voices far beyond the immediate circle of cast members. Still, amidst the chaos, there were moments of unexpected unity. A few friends began reaching out to Sierra, offering support and reminding her that she wasn't alone. Fans, too, began sharing messages of encouragement, flooding her with comments like, "You're stronger than you think," and "We're rooting for you." These small glimmers of hope suggested that perhaps the storm could lead to something positive. Yet the question lingered. Would the group allow healing to happen? Or would they continue tearing each other apart? What makes this moment so gripping is the uncertainty. Nobody knows what will happen next. Will Sierra find the strength to rise above the backlash? Will Bambi continue standing by her side? Or will the pressure force her to step back? And will Mama D's inevitable involvement turn the situation into an all-out war? The answers remain hidden, but one thing is clear: this confession has changed everything, and nothing will ever be the same again. As the waves of Sierra's confession continued to ripple outward, the group found themselves standing at a crossroads, each person forced to choose where their loyalty and compassion truly lay. The talk between Sierra and Bambi was supposed to be private, a moment of raw honesty tucked away from the cameras. But once the whispers spread, there was no turning back. Every new day seemed to bring another layer of reaction, another twist in a story that was already tangled in emotion, betrayal, and the ever-present hunger for drama. The pressure on Sierra only grew heavier. What she had meant as an intimate admission now felt like an open wound being picked apart for everyone's entertainment. She reportedly told a close friend, "I wanted to be real with her, not with the world. Now everybody thinks they know me, but they don't." The vulnerability she displayed that night was supposed to be a step toward healing. But in the harsh light of gossip and speculation, it became yet another battle she had to fight. Her strength, the very thing people admired her for, was being tested like never before. Bambi, meanwhile, found herself stuck in the middle of a storm she had never asked for. Her compassion for Sierra was genuine, but she could not ignore the weight of being tied to such a revelation. Everywhere she went, people demanded answers. What exactly was said? How bad had things really gotten? And why hadn't she spoken up sooner? Bambi began to feel like she was carrying a secret too heavy to hold and too dangerous to share. Her frustration reportedly boiled over one night when she snapped, "This is not my story to tell, but somehow I'm the one everybody keeps blaming." Those words captured her dilemma perfectly. She wanted to protect her friend, but she also wanted to protect herself. Mama D, as expected, did not remain silent for long. Though she had not been part of the conversation, her name surfaced constantly in the aftermath, and she was never one to waste an opportunity to insert herself. According to insiders, she began making bold claims, suggesting that Bambi was using Sierra's pain to shift attention away from their ongoing feud. "She'll take anybody's struggle if it makes her look better," Mama D reportedly told someone. Whether true or not, the statement added gasoline to a fire that was already blazing. Fans immediately picked sides, some applauding Mama D's bluntness, others accusing her of cruelty. Once again, the group's fragile unity splintered. The christening controversy resurfaced yet again, tying itself into the new drama in ways that shocked even longtime followers of the show. Bambi's anger about being excluded from her children's christening remained raw, and now people speculated that her resentment toward the group as a whole made it harder for her to fully support Sierra. How can she show compassion when she's still carrying her own scars? One fan posted online, capturing the complicated web of emotions that surrounded these women. It became clear that none of these events existed in isolation. Every slight, every betrayal, every moment of silence from the past was bleeding into the present, creating a storm too tangled to easily unravel. Sierra herself tried to hold on to a sense of gratitude, even as the criticism mounted. She reportedly said, "I thank God my depression didn't take me under because it could have." These words resonated with fans who had battled their own demons, sparking heartfelt messages of solidarity. Yet, at the same time, critics pounced, accusing her of dramatizing her struggle for sympathy. "She's turning pain into a storyline," one detractor wrote, a comment that quickly went viral. The split between compassion and criticism only grew deeper, leaving Sierra caught in a tug-of-war between those who wanted to uplift her and those determined to tear her down. Bambi's role in all of this became increasingly complicated. She was no longer just a listener. She was now seen as a gatekeeper of truth, someone who had been given access to a side of Sierra no one else had seen. This position made her both powerful and vulnerable. Some praised her for being the shoulder Sierra leaned on, while others accused her of failing to act quickly enough. The pressure wore on her, and insiders claim she broke down at one point, saying, "I'm damned if I do, and I'm damned if I don't." The line has since been repeated endlessly online, turned into memes, and dissected by fans eager to assign meaning, as if the emotional turmoil weren't enough. Rumors began swirling about an upcoming trip to Puerto Rico, where much of the group was expected to gather. Fans speculated that this would be the setting for the next major clash, a stage where all the unresolved tensions, Sierra's confession, Bambi's silence, Mama D's accusations, and the christening betrayal would come to a head. Some predicted it would be the breaking point for friendships that had already been stretched to their limits. Others believed it might offer a chance for healing, though in the world of love and hip-hop, peace rarely lasts long. What makes this story so gripping is not just the confession itself, but the way it has exposed every crack in the foundation of these relationships. Sierra's vulnerability forced everyone to confront uncomfortable truths about themselves. How often had they ignored her pain? How often had they chosen drama over compassion? And how often had they allowed loyalty to be overshadowed by pride and resentment? These questions lingered in every conversation, every social media post, every whispered rumor. At the heart of it all was the undeniable fact that Sierra had taken a risk by opening up, and now she was living with the consequences. Whether her confession would lead to healing or destruction remained uncertain, but one thing was clear: it could not be undone. Once spoken, her words had taken on a life of their own, spreading far beyond the quiet room where she first shared them with Bambi. Fans continued to flood timelines with their own takes, some demanding that the women put their differences aside and support each other, others calling for accountability and honesty. The divide mirrored the larger struggle these women faced in their own lives. The tension between protecting themselves and being vulnerable, between holding grudges and seeking forgiveness. It was messy, it was emotional, and it was everything the audience had come to expect from them. As the days turned into weeks, the weight of the confession did not lessen. Instead, it settled like a shadow over everything that followed. Every interaction was colored by it, every smile questioned, every silence scrutinized. And in the middle of it all, Sierra and Bambi tried to navigate the fragile ground between them. Two women bound together by secrets, pain, and the unrelenting glare of public scrutiny. The future of their friendship, and indeed the future of the entire group, now hangs in the balance. Can they move past the hurt, the misunderstandings, and the endless cycle of accusations? Or will the confession that was meant to bring healing end up being the very thing that tears them apart for good? Fans are watching closely, waiting for the next twist, the next tear, the next explosive moment. And until that comes, the whispers will not stop. The speculation will not fade, and the storm will only grow stronger. And so, with all the emotions unraveled, the apologies whispered and the wounds exposed, the story of Sierra's confession stands as one of the most unforgettable moments in recent memory. A simple conversation meant to be private between two women has now become a storm that fans cannot stop talking about. The tears, the doubts, the shocking revelation of mixing wine with pills, and the weight of carrying it all while pretending to be strong. These are the kinds of moments that remind everyone that behind the glamour lies real pain. Bambi's stunned reaction, her own struggle to balance compassion with self-preservation, and Mama D's looming presence all add layers to a drama that feels far from finished. Fans are left questioning what comes next. Will this confession lead to true healing, or will it only deepen the fractures between friends and family? Will Bambi continue to stand by Sierra, or will the mounting pressure pull them further apart? And what role will Mama D play when the next chapter unfolds? The uncertainty is exactly what keeps people glued, waiting for the next reveal, the next twist, the next moment that makes them gasp. Now it's your turn to weigh in. Do you believe Sierra's confession was a cry for help, or just another dramatic move in a world where every secret eventually comes to light? Can friendships survive when such heavy truths are laid bare, or is this the beginning of a new wave of explosive fallout? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video. If you were shocked by the revelations, subscribe to the channel so you never miss the latest drama, and hit that notification bell to stay updated. Your thoughts and reactions keep the conversation alive. And trust me, this story is far from over.